Ananya, are you there? So, Ananya, are you there?
Yes. Hi. Has Kumar joined?
I think he's there. కుమార్ గారు ఉన్నారండి? హలో,
Yeah, we'll just give him 2 minutes. Yeah. Hey, hi Kumar, how are you?
just 1 second.
I think he's online.
Yeah, yeah. Ananya, I think he's there.
Yeah. Can you hear us, Kumar? Can you hear us?
Is he unable to join? I will just call him.
Guys, can you hear my audio? Okay, thanks, guys. I think we can move. Kumar, can you hear us? Kiran, are you online?
There is some technical problem, it seems, like he is unable to hear our voice. Oh, yeah, I think he is there.
It's all right now.
Yeah.
I could hear
Ananya,
your voice.
please continue.
Yeah, hi Kumar. I'm unable to see you. Are you on video?
I'm able to see you guys. I'm able to see you, Ananya.
Okay, great, Kumar. Welcome. How has your evening been? Hopefully, it's a little more relaxed today since it's a national holiday.
Yeah, holiday is not for me. Holiday is never for police. It is for you guys.
True.
So I took some time out for the this start. I came home and then I started preparation.
Thank you so much. Thank you for making time today. So I have heard a lot about your story from Kiran and how you went about cracking your civil services exam and what you've been doing since then. And we've had a small chat also after that. So I am honestly extremely inspired by your journey. So can you please tell us a little about your family background, your early life, and what inspired you to be get into civil services?
Okay. So Ananya, actually, I belong to a family of farmer. My father is a farmer and my mother is also a farmer. So, and I belong to a village setup, and I studied in my village that is in Karimnagar district near Hyderabad. I studied till fourth class in my village itself, and then I went to Hyderabad. Like I used to do up down by cycle till my 10th class. I studied in Telugu medium completely. Even I completed 11th and 12th also in Telugu medium in my native place, that is Hyderabad. So then I moved to Hyderabad for my engineering in Trinity Engineering College. I have done my engineering. And after that, I started for preparation. So my motivation from the childhood onwards, there is something like in my mind, back of the mind, I used to have something that uh, I need to become some officer. But I do not know what officer to become, how to prepare, and what is the strategy. I do know nothing. So after the engineering itself, I talked out my strategy and how to go out, what exams should prepare, and how we should prepare and all. I started strategized and then prepared for the civil service examination. Hello, Ananya.
Ananya, unmute yourself.
Hello.
Unmute yourself.
Okay. Hi, can you hear us? Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you now. I can hear you now.
Today there's some silly technical issues going on. So anyway, so Kumar, that was very, very inspirational, coming from a village in India, going to, you know, aspiring to be an officer, and then going ahead and cracking your dream. Actually, I mean, that very few can do that. Very few have the courage and the guts to do that. Actually, so congratulations to you. I think on behalf of everyone, I think we've around 70 participants now. Thank you so much for being with us and helping and inspiring us so much today. So Kumar, just tell us something more about how did you go about your preparation? How much time did it take you to crack this UPSC exam, and some major challenges you faced while preparing? Because a lot of people here, they are preparing for UPSC exams now.
Okay. So basically, I would say that minimum it will take 1.5 year time to prepare. If you want to prepare the entire syllabus like general studies and optional and then essay, to prepare the entire thing, I will say that it will take 1 to 1.5 year time. It's not a small preparation. Okay. First of all, one thing, and second thing, there will be many challenges. Yes, because many people, as a aspirant, also still I remember. I sometimes when I speak with the audiences also with some of the aspirants, I will also connect with them because basically the challenges I faced were like financially. I used to have a lot of problems because coming from a humble background, so you cannot afford to stay for long without earning anything. So I used to have that thing. And the second thing, but I managed to like with minimum expenses, I used to manage the things. Otherwise, I always used to have financial crunch. And the second thing regarding the preparation, so many people have this psychological challenge. One thing that when you are because it is a long battle, it is a long preparation thing. So many people will feel that whether I would be able to clear it or not, whether I would be able to crack it or not, whether I'm going in the right way or not. So this question actually will continuously haunt you till you clear the exam. Because I always I started in 2011 and it took me 4 years to clear for the first time. First time I cleared in 2015 exam, I got selected for IRS, and then in 2016 exam I got selected for IPS. So what I suggest to all the students is that don't get panic, and if you are not able to sometimes there will be in the preparation there will be always these things, lows and highs. Sometimes we feel like, Arey Baba, whether I am in the right direction or not. These kind of questions will be always there till you clear the exam. So don't get this thing demotivated by those kind of doubts. But what I suggest is that you should keep motivating yourself. I always suggest all the people or all the students that you should self-motivate yourself and you should plan your day. Suppose today, what I used to do is that first of all, I used to have a plan for 1 month, and then I used to have a plan for 1 week. So this week I will study this much of portion, and then out of that again I used to plan for the day. So this day I have suppose 10 hours or 12 hours of time, and I will study this. So that's how if you strategize the preparation, eventually you will be able to come out of that struggles or challenges easily. Are
Did
you
you
listening?
Yeah, did you actually, you know, prepare along with your job that you were doing, or did you prepare while you were, did you dedicate your entire time to preparing?
Yeah, what I have done is that initially uh, for 2 years I completely spent only on the preparation. So what I have done, I have studied all the subjects regarding it, and I have made notes, and I have done everything. I kept ready, and I have given one attempt. I have written the mains also, so I was confident. Then uh, after that, I started writing other competitive exams as well. You asked me a very good question. Like I used to write, bank exams, insurance exams, that staff selection commission, CGLE. I used to write every other exam. So, and I got selected for many other exams. So I used to work also. After 2 years of my preparation, I started working as inspector of central excise in Hyderabad. And what I used to do, even during the working also, like in free times or during weekends, I used to find a lot of time. Like whenever, suppose if you are sitting in the office and you don't have any other work, just take the book and then read it. Because in the first 2 years, I have made all the notes also. So I used to just revise the things and then go through the current affairs. That is how I used to manage the time. So I also suggest to the students, like, you spend for 2.5 years, suppose. After that, if you feel that you are getting demotivated, I think you can work for some time. But provided that it should not hamper your preparation. I always ensured that it will never hamper my preparation. Because clearing the civil service, if clearing the civil service is your motto, then other things should not trouble that.
That is very true. So when you say, so a lot of our students here, they are in their undergraduation or doing their masters. So how much time do you think they should prepare? Like 10 hours, 12 hours? A lot of people have this in their mind. Last time when we had this with Balalata ma'am, when she said that you have to devote, at least 5 to 6 hours minimum every day. A lot of people were, pinging and saying we need a practical timetable. This is not possible in our current, lifestyle and stuff. What would you tell to them?
See, it depends on the person. If you are going to the classes daily, suppose morning to evening, if you are undergraduate or a postgraduate, you are attending the classes, you won't be able to get the time for 10 hours for preparation. But suppose if you are assuming that you have complete day with you, if you have 24, then minimum one should spend minimum 10 hours, 10 to 12 hours. I used to spend 10 to 12 hours depending. So suppose if you are attending the classes like 4 to 5 hours of the classes, see, basically what I used to follow, let me tell you. So as a person, an average human being needs 6 to 8 hours of sleep. Okay. And then assuming that 7 hours. Then after that, you remove around 2-3 hours for eating and other personal activities. So remove those 10 hours. Out of that, you have only 14 hours left. So how you are using these 14 hours? That is important. So you have classes for 4 hours or 5 hours. Then baki, whatever that 7 hours, 8 hours, you have to utilize it.
While you're speaking, a lot of people are pinging saying we can't manage time effectively. Guys, like if you have to crack an exam, trust me, I have taken my GMAT and post which I then, got into ISB. Any exam that you write, you will have to dedicate time. You have to be a good time manager. All of these exams don't just test your exam writing skills. They also test you on how you will be on the job once you cross these barriers. So while I'm talking about this, Kumar, just tell me how this rigor of the exam prepares you for the job. Like the exam is very, very intensive. And your job also must be very intensive, right? So tell me how these 10 hours, like dedicated 10 hours to a particular exam, helps you take your job also seriously.
See, basically, time management is one of the most important factor in everything. Either it is for preparation or during the exam, when you are writing the exam, or during the job also. Because time management implies that you are planning. If you plan properly, anything you can do properly. So if you're planning properly, you're planning for proper time management.
Yes, that's a great advice. Like, if you be a better planner, only then you'll be able to manage your time. If you're not, I mean, there's right? Failing to plan is planning to fail. I mean, that's what happens.
To fail.
Right?
Yeah, true. That's right. See, what is ultimately time management? The time management means you're planning. That's what I was telling. No, so you have 24 hours in your time. Assuming that, so remove. First of all, you eliminate. You have sleeping time and you have some rest time. You have some suppose phone calls, eating and all. You remove 10 hours for that. And out of remaining 14 hours, how you are spending? Even out of 14 hours also, I will say that remove 1-2 hours. So out of 12 hours, how you are utilizing for the preparation? It will apply during the exam also. Even as you asked me how it will help in the job. Yes, it is very important because civil service exam, all these jobs, most of the jobs, it will demand some time in the initial years of our career. So if you are planning properly, so you will be able to give good time to your family as well as to the people or to the office and society as well. So always, now also, suppose I plan everything. So for tomorrow, at what time I should wake up, at what time I should go for running or gym, and then at what time I should go to office and then lunch. Everything is planned. So because it became part and parcel of my life now.
That's a very important thing, Kumar. Like planning And especially during these very uncertain times like COVID, so a lot of students that we have today, who are listening to us, are also from marginalized backgrounds. And especially because there's a job crunch in the market, there are a lot of financial issues coming up. And there is this Atmanirbhar plan also that Prime Minister has announced now for entrepreneurs to come in. How do you think going forward students should prepare themselves for these kind of uncertainties? Like, you must have seen a lot of uncertainty in your job, in your career, while you were preparing, right? And this is something that this COVID thing has not happened in 100 years in the world's history. So how do you think they should prepare for uncertainties?
Yeah. See, basically, this COVID thing is not just a problem of India, a problem of a student. It is a global problem. And for this, there are no vaccine, there is no medicine. So we cannot, there is a set of research, this thing, doctors and the WHO and the countries, the scientists are doing that work. So but yes, economy is having a lot of problems now because of lockdown and all. We all know that all the financial transactions have stopped. So if suppose I'm going by a newspaper report today, I have been going through. So this automobile sector is facing a lot of problems because there is no any sale of any vehicles. So that industry is going to have a lot of problems. At the same time, this construction sector also will face a lot of problems in the future because it will face a lot of labor shortage problems. Now we are sending all these laborers to their homes. So who will work in the field actually? So if they are not there, it will have problems for the economy as well. So, but these things we have to analyze. As a student, what I will suggest is instead of worrying about all these things, as a civil service student, you should analyze and then don't get emotional with these things. I would always suggest that you should think how a question can be asked on these issues in the civil service examination. Because as an aspirant, I will purely think for the exam. So COVID-19 situation is there. So suppose how UPSC will ask the exam, will ask a question in the exam. Maybe regarding biological aspects, regarding economy aspects, how this Atmanirbhar program will help the economy to boost and all. So like this, every aspirant should think. And moreover, this lockdown and all, this should not be a problem for the aspirants because suppose as an aspirant, if I go back to my preparation days, I always used to be in lockdown situation. If I'm not working, suppose if I'm at home, what you're doing, you're just studying. You're not going out anyway. So, and the students in the university, it does not matter to them. It should not matter to them because you are having food and then room. Your only thing is that you have to study. That's it. And whatever the things are happening, you just analyze them and write the notes. What are the challenges? What are the consequences? What are the possible solutions to this problem?
Yeah, so all he's saying, guys, is that focus on you. There are so many problems that will keep coming, but if your focus is unwavered towards civil services exam, then please make sure that you're only focused towards that. Even if there are problems, from what I understood of Kumar was that you analyze the problems, you write it down in your own words, you figure what are the problems, economic, financial, whatever problem comes up, figure out. So that will also, help you become a better officer. Now, coming to that, Kumar, now a little bit about your job, like the COVID-19 outbreak must have put you under immense stress and it is spreading really fast. So is it easy to keep up civil order? And, some things that you have done as an officer on ground, this will also help inspire students as to what to look forward to in a civil services job going forward, especially if they become IPS officers tomorrow.
Yeah. See, basically, I am working in a small place called Damangaon. It is in Amravati district. So there, what I have done is that before this lockdown, before this COVID-19 situation, I have done a lot of things which created a trust of the people on me. So suppose in the town there was a lot of traffic issue, I have solved that, and then there was a issue of this thing illegal encroachment, and we have removed all the illegal encroachment drives along with that municipal corporation department, and then we have solved some murder cases, And like that, we have done many works. And then community policing also, we have outreached the problem. Like I reached the students in the colleges and schools to motivate them. And again, like this only, to create awareness about the jobs, and then how to prepare and how to be disciplined and all. So overall, it created a lot of confidence on me from the people. So during the COVID situation, what happened? I got a lot of support from the people. So initially, what I have done, because as soon as the lockdown situation was imposed, lockdown thing was imposed, I appeal to all the citizens to stay at home and come out only for essential items, like essential goods and services. And most of them have cooperated. Here we have an order. Suppose if somebody is not maintaining social distancing, and then if somebody is not wearing mask, we can impose fines. Like municipal corporation people can impose fine, and we, with all the departments, we work cooperatively. And we have booked a lot of cases, and we have imposed a lot of fines for the violators. And if somebody is playing outside cricket or badminton, and we used to also warn them. And if they're not, if they're doing repeatedly, we used to book the cases also. And then we, like, we used that mics and all social media to propagate them that it is a situation, it's a different kind of situation, and government is doing all this lockdown for the sake of people. So we propagated that also. That worked a lot. And now, if you suppose come across, if you come here, you can see that everybody, like, who is going to the shop, they'll maintain proper social distancing. Like, at every shop, we have created these markings like circles and this. So whoever is coming for the shop, and you have to stand in that this thing, prescribed markings only. And apart from that, we ensured that if suppose there are poor people, we ensured that we distributed masks. And for migrant labor and then poor people, we distributed rations. Like, thousands of people have distributed the rations. And after this migrant labor also, we have coordinated to ensure that these migrant laborers are going to their homes safely. And surprising, luckily, till now we didn't get any case in my jurisdiction. And also we ensured that police department ensure our people also, because if you see some of the police staff also getting COVID-19, and we took measures in such a way that they wear masks. And I used to ensure, because see, ultimately police are also people, so they are also under a lot of threat. So I used to tell them that whenever you are on the road, so you should, definitely they will be wearing the mask. But when you are checking the vehicle, when you are talking to the people, you ensure that the opposite person also wears the mask, and you ensure every police person standing on the road should have lathi on his hand. And I used to tell them that you always stand at a lathi distance from another person. Somebody was going on by bike or by car, you stop him for checking, then you stand at the distance of lathi, and then do this, so that it is a safety for our people also. So these are the measures I have taken there. And I always used to this thing also, tell them that always use hand sanitizer in your you should have it in your pocket, and then for every 1 hour, 2 hours, you should use that sanitizer. And whenever you are going home to take a bath, and now also I tell everyone that whenever you go home, immediately go to washroom and then take bath and then go to other rooms, because suppose it applies to everyone, to us, to people, everyone, because I'm going out, suppose my family members are at home, so I may carry something which may infect them. At least suppose taking bath and then going to the main room, it will ensure that they are also safe. So this is my suggestion to each and everyone listening to this video, that you should not take this COVID-19 lightly, because though it is not very deadly, but it is not even that easy also. So old people, children, and the youth also, those who are having some health issues already, it's not that easy for them. So I suggest that always for every 1 hour, 2 hours, you try to use hand sanitizer and go for hand washing. And then when you go out and then come to your hostel or to home, wherever, always take bath. That is the best thing.
That's
and try to wear this thing. Nowadays we are getting something called face shield. It will cover, like, suppose with plastic face shield, you wear the mask and then apply the plastic face shield as well. when you go out, because it will protect even eyes also. Mask will protect you from only from breathing from nose and mouth, but eye should be covered. I feel that.
That's very timely, Kumar. I think a lot of students here, we have almost 90 participants here. So a lot of students here are in hostels, are in closed environments. So it's important for them to go through all the hygiene requirements in order to protect themselves also, as well as elders in their family. Also, Kumar, I really liked what you said about in the beginning, like winning the confidence of local people so that you're able to handle things in crisis. That's very important, guys. So we had a session earlier also with Sham. You can go and have a look at the video. He also said the same thing, that if you do not have the confidence of local people when you are in a public office or you're in a position of leadership, then you will not be able to handle crisis situations better. So even when you are at school or you are at your colleges, make sure that you're able to hone your team building skills, and you're able to get everyone together so that if there's any crisis, you're able to handle it properly. I mean, it's not just about writing an exam and passing it, it's also right. So
True.
you a IPS officer, Kumar, how do you think nowadays technology is advancing very fast? So how do you think technology helped you in cracking the exam? Did it help you?
Yeah, basically, technology is, I feel that it is a double-edged sword. So if you are using it properly, it will help you definitely. So I used to restrict it because I used to use only for, like, suppose Google whenever I get any doubt, and then it will definitely useful for you if you are using it properly. I used to use Google, and then YouTube, this RSTV. There is something called Rajya Sabha TV. In that we have two programs. One is Big Picture, and then is India and World. For these two programs, I used to use YouTube, and for getting any issue clarity. Suppose, see, COVID-19, I want to know about the COVID-19 virus and all total details. I may not get in the newspaper. Even if I get also, suppose I must have missed it. So if it is coming daily, you just Google it and then search about it completely. Suppose it is a virus. So suppose if I am an aspirant now, how would I prepare for it? Assuming that it is a virus. So first of all, I will read what is the difference between virus and bacteria. Then COVID-19 virus. What are the different types of viruses already existing? Until to what viruses, what virus will give what disease, and what are the medicines available, like suppose vaccination is available or not, and whether they are being eliminated or not. So COVID-19, what are the symptoms? What are the consequences? Suppose globally, how many people till now have been infected? What is the death rate? How many tests have been conducted? How many countries have been affected? So then I will go through historically. Suppose in the last 4 to 500 years, these kind of viruses are generally we are studying that it's a common for every 100 years. Suppose plague or some other kind of influenza will affect the people. So you should learn about it, all these things. So because there can be a question on essay, there can be it can be an essay question, it can be a general studies question, it can be maybe an optional question also. So what are the effects on economy? What are the challenges? What are the solutions? So like this, you should prepare for all these things. You will not get in the newspaper. These kind of things, technology will help you. Google. So obviously you have to use the Google properly. But only problem thing is that once we start using the mobile, suppose, so nowadays so everyone is using the mobile, but there will be a lot of deviations. We have Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and they have WhatsApp group. So instead of wasting time, I never used WhatsApp during this thing. Like even if I use also very minimal. So I used to use only for the preparation time and then keep the mobile off. So go through the textbooks, but that's it. So that's what I'm telling. Coming back back to your question, the technology has to be used very wisely. So once suppose you open the YouTube, you may listen to one suppose good Big Picture program in Rajya Sabha TV. Then gradually what happens? You start using other videos like suppose movies. Gradually, it is a tendency. It is a psychological tendency to divert to other things. So that's why I suggest that you should restrict yourself. Initially, also I mentioned that self-motivation and discipline. Self-discipline is also very important because if you want to crack the exam, there are some standard operating procedures. SOPs, what should be done, what should not be done. So rather than doing what should be done, what should not be done is also very, very important. So technology has to be used very wisely, but it should be used because it is very useful. Without Google and without YouTube, you cannot survive and you cannot completely prepare.
Agree. So that means whatever I mean, this is common sense, guys. Like, just use technology not to get distracted, but to get more informed. It is easy to get distracted with technology. You have one WhatsApp message, you have one Instagram, notification, and things just keep escalating after that. So be very focused about what you want and go about planning your studies also accordingly. People are, constantly messaging me saying, how do we manage our time? So guys, stay away from technology for all the right reasons and log into your, log into your laptops or phones or whatever only when you require them. You don't require them always, and you also know that very well. Now, going on to the last question.
Even if they are using the phone also instead of laptop, no problem. But thing is that you should restrict to that thing. If you are Googling about some thing, then you Google it and then keep it aside and then go to the room and then study or keep it away. So that is very important. And then exit from many.
Yeah, so, just taking your suggestion forward, Kumar, guys, there are very nice productivity tools that you can use, like apps you can, download on your desktop as well as on your mobile, where you can manage your time as well as you can see where you're wasting maximum of your, time on. So that will really help you. Go on, Kumar. So I had last question for you actually, that, 3 things that you really wish about IPS officers.
Can you repeat the question? I couldn't hear you.
So 3, guys, can you mute yourselves, please? Non-speakers, please mute yourselves. Thank you. So 3 things, Kumar, that you really think, people should know about IPS officers. Some very uncommon things that people do not know, and you really think that public knew about you.
Acha. Okay. See, basically, many qualities. All IPS, most of the IPS officers will have the qualities which are known to the people. What I have observed is this thing during preparation and that our training also ensures that we should have that proper planning. I already mentioned you what I have observed. Suppose you take any IPS officer, because many of our other colleagues also tell that what is the difference between in the police itself. What is the major difference between a police officer, other police officers and an IPS officer? They tell that, sir, IPS officers generally they go with planning. For everything they plan something. Suppose we have to do some operation, like whatever we have to do this task. So what we will do, let us we'll put it in the pen, with pen on the paper, that okay, what is the situation, how we should go about it. The planning, every IPS officer, most of the people, first thing what they will do for any situation is planning. And second thing is that most of them, somebody is running. Ask him to mute.
Guys, please mute. Whoever has not muted, please mute.
Yeah, he is running and then watching. So second thing, what I have observed is most of the IPS officers, they are very much optimistic. Even in the difficult times, they are most optimistic with the people, with the response from the people, and with the situation. Even it can be any kind of law and order situation or any kind of crime situation. What I have observed is we go by with optimism that nothing will happen, we can solve it. Any kind of problem we can solve it, because there are problems and there are solutions. For every problem we will have many solutions, and then we have, obviously there can be solution today or tomorrow.
Yes.
And the third thing is that most of the IPS officers, what I will say is that they are integral people. Honesty and integrity, I have observed that it is like very common among IPS officers.
So high integrity.
Yeah.
That's
and
great.
they are very much hardworking also. Suppose you call anyone calls me, or for that matter, you call any IPS officer in any time, in the night or day, they'll definitely take your call and then try to attempt your problem, try to solve your problem. So they are very much hardworking as well.
It is very heartening to listen to this, Kumar, because a lot of people think that, you know, bureaucracy is not working properly in India and stuff. We do not know the other side of the story and how much you guys are working. Like in my recent project, I worked with the police team here in Bangalore, and it was really heartening to see them on ground doing things that are, you know, benefiting the marginalized segments. So great, really congratulations here. And so, Kumar, we'll open this floor up for, you know, question and answers. I've been getting some of the questions from students. So Ratan Singh is asking, how relevant are Hindu editorials for preparing for civils?
See, Hindu editorials are very, very important because I used to go through the Hindu newspaper itself.
Please mute yourself. Please mute yourself.
So Hindu editorial will definitely fetch us. Thing is that you need not go through all the editorials. You should be able to get that which editorial is useful and which editorial is not useful. And if you are getting bored, see, idea is that whether you're reading Hindu or Indian Express or Times of India, which newspaper doesn't matter. What matters is that what are the things happening in the current times, like they are called current affairs, and then whether you have complete analysis about it. Sometimes if I get bored about that current affairs, whatever is there in the editorial, you go through it and then you Google it and then get the complete analysis about that. So, but I feel that Hindu editorials are very much useful. There will be some boring articles. There will be some articles which may not be required. You no need to worry. You skip them. But most of them will be useful.
And also, Kumar, somebody is asking, how about what is the preparation orientation required for general studies and optional? Could you tell the students a little bit in detail?
Okay. See, orientation means, I don't know. Only orientation is that for both now, earlier there used to be difference between prelims, mains, and then general studies and optional. Now all these are merging. It's like, you know, there can be a general studies question. It can be now asked in optional also, and you should be able to write that according to the optional. And there can be a question from the optional subject, some of the optional subjects, and they will ask it in the general studies question paper. There are some situations also. So regarding general studies, for every subject there are prescribed books. Everybody knows that. Whoever is preparing, everybody knows that. This is suppose for polity you have either Lakshmikant or D.D. Basu. For economy you have Ramesh Singh and Puri and Mishra. Like that for every subject. For history you have Bipin Chandra and NCERT. Like this for every subject we have prescribed books. What I suggest is that you have to go through all the books multiple times. One main problem with our aspirants is that they don't prepare properly. They don't revise. So some people, what they do, suppose for one subject they will go through 2-3 books. I strongly disapprove that. You go through one book and try to read it 100 times. Suppose you selected for polity D.D. Basu or Lakshmikant. You select anyone and go through it 100 times or whatever number of times, because you know something like the book should be in your mind. You should be, suppose it is called mind maps. If you're going through the same book many times, or you will think that it must be in 30th page, the topic must be in the 50th page. So it should be like that. So, and then always you should remember some important facts as well. You should analyze. You should be able to analyze each and every topic. For this, how you should analyze, best suggestion is go through last 4 to 5 years previous year question papers of both general studies and optionals, and then you will come to know what kind of questions they are asking. So whether you are able to, suppose you have studied one topic, you go through the previous year question paper, questions from that topic, whether you are able to answer that question or not. That is the best judge, whether you have prepared well or not. And for every general studies papers and optional papers, you should link the current affairs with the general studies and optional. So something is coming, suppose COVID-19, that's why I have mentioned. This can be asked in from biological perspective. Like suppose they can ask about virus, they can ask about other diseases, viral diseases, other bacterial diseases. It can be asked in the economy also, like what are its effects on the economy, what are the challenges, what are the possible solutions. So you can think like this also. For any topic, how it will suit in our syllabus.
Right. So
As well as
somebody is asking, what is your option? What was your optional?
my optional was sociology.
Okay, guys, sociology for you. And then next, somebody is asking, you know, how did you handle the fear of failure and what kept you motivated for 4 years of preparation? This is a very important question, I feel, Kumar. Like, how did you deal with failure?
See, basically, I never have that fear of failure, because if you are preparing properly, you will never have that fear of failure. Even if you fear of failure, also it doesn't affect you. Suppose I used to think like this: civil service is also one exam, and you want to become a civil servant. Even if you do not become civil servant, also nothing will happen to you. Nothing will happen to this country. And you have so many other career options. That's why I told you already that I used to written. I have written many other exams and I have cleared many other exams. I used to work as instructor center lecturer as well. So what I suggest is that give some time, 2 years or 2.5 years of your preparation, and then you start appearing for other exams also. So it will give some kind of confidence. So there is nothing called failure. You have to success in your life. So if you think that fear of failure in the civil service examination, then that is the first criteria for eliminating from civil service examination, because the job also requires a lot of self motivation. You know, I already told you that most of the civil servants, IPS officers, you asked the three qualities. I told you that optimistic. You should be very much optimistic in the job. Same thing should happen in your preparation also. So if you are preparing properly as per a timetable, then you never have that fear of failure, because you will never fail you. You may fail from the exam, but you will never fail from the life if you have that proper plan. And you can clear other exams, you can do other jobs. Ultimately, the satisfaction is very important. What job you are doing and what career you are pursuing doesn't matter. What is more important is that the job you are doing, you should get 100% satisfaction. That is more important.
Right. So Kumar, about your optional, people are asking what are some top books that you went through?
Okay. Basically, I took coaching for that subject in Delhi. So that Vajiraman Ravi Institute. I went through all the coaching notes, and then for some topics I went to. There is a book called Ridger, RITZER. Many people, those are some sociology options, they must know it. And I have went through for some of the topics I went through that Ridger, and then there is called IGNO BA Sociology material. I went through that also. The IGNO material for sociology is very, very useful. That BA material, because it will clear all your doubts, basics.
Okay, so somebody is asking, do you have any political pressure in your job?
It is zero. Till now, I didn't find any such kind of thing. Rather, here our MLA is very much cooperative. So whatever the work I used to do, suppose I have done with municipal administration, we cooperatively have done illegal encroachment drive. You know what he has said? Truly, I am feeling. He told me that it is much needed for this town, and here I am very happy that you are doing. As a political representative, as a MLA, I cannot do it, because if I suppose even if I wanted to do it, also I cannot do it. First of all, it's not under my distinct power. Second thing, I may lose my votes. Those who are losing that, so all the people will think that they will go against me. They will go to other parties. So he supported me a lot, because he told me that what we need is the development of this town or this constituency, these people. So if you are doing good, nobody will ask you to stop doing it.
Right. So Kumar, that's a very
And I got a lot of support from the people also. See, suppose 1% of the people may be affected, but 99% of the people will like it.
right.
So,
Kumar, that's
so
a
there is
very important thing you said, that local support. I mean, you have been saying this throughout the session about local support, about MLA supporting you. I have seen here also people are they're actually putting day in and day out to to develop their local vicinities. So it's a great job that's being done. So Kumar, we have another maybe 1 minute.
Yeah, sure.
We have
No
another
problem.
1 minute. Yeah, somebody wants to talk. Does somebody want to talk, guys? Anybody who wants to ask him, please don't ask about answer writing strategies and everything. Those things you can answer, you can ask one-to-one. Your Facebook and Instagram of Kumar has already been shared with you guys. So any important question you guys want to ask him? Anyone who wants to speak and ask a question? Everyone unnara questions adagdaniki, please ask your questions in Telugu, English, Hindi, whatever.
Sir, do we need to go to Delhi for coaching?
Yeah. It's not at all required. See, basically, Delhi is overhyped. I got to know after I went there. I went after borrowing money, and after all, I faced a lot of problems in Delhi also. Because I went there and then I completed my coaching and then came back immediately. But I would suggest that it is not at all required. See, if you are basic strategy, like you can, first of all, you can start with NCERTs, and then you read all the NCERTs from 6th class to 12th class. What I suggest is 6th to 12th, all the subjects like, polity, economy, history, geography, and then science and technology related, physics, chemistry, all the subjects. Physics, chemistry not required 11th and 12th till 10th class. All the subjects you go through from 6th to 12th, history also 6th to 12th, and then you go through specific subjects, books related to that subject. So if you go through this now, any coaching is also not required. Even if it is affordable, you can go to it. But Delhi, it's not at all required. It all depends. It's not. It is very costly. It is pollution. There is a lot of pollution in Delhi, and it's very, very expensive. Highly expensive.
Yeah, so guys, this COVID has given you a lot of time right now indoors. You can now sit and prepare for all the subjects that you want to. He has given you a list of books that you're supposed to prepare with. He has given you time management strategies. If you have any specific questions, please be intelligent about asking your questions. Do your research. Ask him your questions from whatever exam you're writing, and ask him on his Facebook and Instagram. And people, one last question I'm taking now, guys. Like, it's a very important question, Kumar. Like, you're a Telugu medium student. How did you face your interview?
Basically, I gave interview in English itself, because though till 12th class I studied in Telugu. I did engineering in English. Of course, it is in English only. And then I studied all the subjects in English for preparation also. I gave my mains, prelims, everything in English only. So it's not a problematic. They are able to communicate properly. It's not a problem. And if somebody wants to give their interview in Telugu also, you can give. There is an option. They will appoint you some interpreter, and then board will ask you the question in English, and the interpreter will translate you into Telugu, and then you can give the answer in Telugu. He will translate again into English for the board. So there is an option also. So these kind of things, whatever the language you are choosing, it does not matter. Whether you are thorough with the all concepts or not. You can write the mains in Telugu also. Prelims, there is only one bilingual, English and Hindi. Mains you can write in any other language, regional language, Telugu, Hindi, English, Marathi, whatever the language you can write. And English interview also you can give regional language, Telugu also. It's not a matter. Only thing, that's what I'm telling, you should be thorough with all the concepts, all the subjects and then concepts. That's it. I gave in English itself. I didn't face any problem.
Okay, guys. So there is one more, webinar at 7 o'clock today. So we'll need to close this session. Really, thank you so much, Kumar. You have inspired me today. You have made me learn a lot of things today. There are some people who are asking questions about Management Institute, how to get into ISB, does ISB give scholarships and all of those things. Guys, I'll take up a separate session for it with all of you. For now, all the UPSC exam aspirants, please keep in mind all the suggestions that Kumar has given. And thank you so much, Kumar, for coming on this session today and inspiring so many students, almost 100 of them today on this session. Thank you so much.
Sure. Thank you very much, and all the best for each and every student. Prepare well, plan accordingly, and don't think about this COVID-19 and all. Government will take care of it. As a student, as an aspirant, what you have to do is plan, prepare, and then revise. Revise many times. Many people, what they do is that they will study and then leave it. Rather than that, you have to revise many number of times. That is the main thing. And then keep writing. Keep writing. Whatever you studied, you keep writing. Keep making notes. This should be a habit.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank
you very much.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Sir, where can we get a confined syllabus for UPSC, sir?
Hey, so guys, questions, all the questions, you have the Facebook and Instagram link of Kumar. Please, ping him there and ask him your questions. But please do your research first before asking questions, all right?
Yeah.
We'll be closing the session now, guys. Thank you so much.